there, it's Amanda from Fun Hands-On Learning, and today I'm going to show you the activities that I have in the work boxes for our very first week of school for pre-K. So these activities are for, some of it is for kindergarten and some of it's pre-K, because I'm doing these activities with my 4-year-old and he is probably ready for preschool, but ready for kindergarten, I should say, but I'm still doing, a little bit of pre-K with him as well. I'll probably do full-on kindergarten with him next year. So this year will just kind of be a transition into kindergarten. So these activities then would be for that age range, pre-K, kindergarten. And these are for the very first week of school. For math this week, we are focusing on, I chose 3 skills to focus on. Patterning, shapes, and counting teen numbers. So that's what I'm going to show you today. And what I did here is for patterning, I realized that I did not have that many activities for patterns. So what I have is, I have our pre-K summer review book, which I wanted to do some of these this first week here in August because it still is summer. And then I plan on moving past these books and into our fall activities in September. So for this week, I pulled out this book and he's going to be doing patterns in here. So what he does with these is he just has to look at the pattern and then find the answer. So we have here, and they're all pictures that are summer themed. And so since we're still in summer mode, I thought these books would be perfect for the beginning of the school year. So he's going to be doing, like for example, this one has the bucket, watermelon, so the next one would be bucket. And he can just circle his answer, or he can use a manipulative. I've shown in other videos. These ones are buttons, and he can cover up his answers with a manipulative. So on the bottom here, you can see that. We have swimsuit, sandcastle, swimsuit, sandcastle. The next one would be swimsuit, so he would just take one of his buttons and he would go ahead and cover it up like so. Okay, so I was thinking, well, what other activities do I have for patterns? And to be honest, I didn't have a lot except for in my fall activities. Now, I was going to plan on waiting to take out my fall themed activities until September, like I said. However, I didn't have a lot of I didn't have a lot of activities that were for patterns, so I had to dig into there and start getting some of them out, and I got this one out. This one is fall patterns, so even though I didn't want to really start on fall activities till September, I thought, you know what, we're going to start on this one because I need some more activities for patterning. So, by the way, I will leave links below to all of this stuff if you're interested. I have an entire bundle of activities, math and literacy activities for the entire year that go through every single season and holiday. And so this particular activity comes from the fall set of the math and literacy activities, and this is patterning. So basically he takes a card and he looks at the pattern, and this one, I don't know if I can, yeah, you can see it. This one has apple, and then apple pie, apple pie, so his answer would be apple, and he has to go through his cards and find the next one in the pattern. There we go. And you can go on to another card. Whoop. So this one is an ABB pattern. So we have acorn, scarecrow, acorn, and then it would obviously be scarecrow. So you would put that one on there. You get the idea. I didn't, when I made this, I tried to make the patterns pretty simple. So like here's an ABAB pattern, AAB pattern. So I didn't go too crazy with the patterns, but I did simple AB, or ABB, like I doubled up the A's or I doubled up the B's. Hopefully you're understanding what I'm talking about. If you've never done patterns before, we label them with letters. So, but basically these ones are obviously pictures, but when you're talking about patterning in math, you talk about them in a letter capacity. So, okay, anyways, so I did pull out this one fall activity. Next week you will see a lot more fall themed activities, because I'll pull them all out when September starts. But that was just the first one for this week. Okay, the other skill I told you in math that we're working on this week, well actually there's 3 skills, so this is the second skill. The second skill in math this week is going to be shapes. So I pulled out our pre-K summer review book on shapes, and he is going to be tracing, and he's going to be answering some questions in here and just learning all about shapes with that book. I pulled out our math activity cards, and what he has to do is he has to match the shapes. And when the kids do these activity cards, I always practice the name of the shape with them. So like if he was on this card, I would say, what I will say to him is, okay, what shape is she holding? And he would have to say triangle. All right, find the triangle on the bottom. And then he's going to take a manipulative. This time I'm going to use these counting bears, and he would place it on the triangle. You can also use these cards with clothespin clips. That works really well as well. And since I laminated mine, another way we could use it is I could just have them, or have him circle the answers with a dry erase. So any way you wanted to do it. So this one, I also do have them count the sides of the shape. So I would say, look at the little boy and count the sides that are on his shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, what shape has 6 sides? And then he would hopefully say hexagon, and then he would have to cover up the hexagon on here. So I just try to stay real present with them as they're working on it. Now, I can't always be right there on every single one. I try to have them, like I do a couple of them with them, and then I go on to work with another child, and he goes on, but then I'll come back and I'll look at, you know, what he did and how he's answered the cards, and if there's any mistakes, obviously we correct it, but we also talk about the name. So if he's done this card, let's say he did this card, and let's say he did this card while I was working with somebody else, and he did them correctly, I will still come over and say, okay, tell me the name of the shape, and hopefully he would be able to say star, and tell me the name of the shape, and hopefully he would be able to say rhombus or diamond. It can be called either one. And he could tell me the sides, like there are 4 sides, or you know, whatever. So anyways, we'll be doing those shape cards. Then I love this activity. This is called Firefighting Shapes. And this, or Firefighting Shapes Activity Center. And this activity center comes from my Early Learners Math Curriculum. So you're going to see a lot of things in here as we're talking about math that come from my Early Learners Math Curriculum. With this activity, I'm going to have him use a pocket chart, and let me show you that. Okay, this is the pocket chart we're going to be using, and actually I put it upside down. Whoops. And this particular pocket chart actually sits up, but I'm just going to lay it flat on the table here because it'll be easier for you to see. However, when we use it, it is like an easel. It's like a tabletop easel, and we can set it up, and then he can use it that way. So that's how we will end up using this pocket chart. And some of you asked me where I got this. I got this a couple of years ago from orientaltrading.com, and I think they still have it. So you may want to look on there if you're interested in a pocket chart. I am not sponsored by by any of these companies. If I mention a company, I'm just telling you because I get questions all the time about where I get things. All right, so for this particular activity center, what he does is, I have a whole unit in my Early Learners Math Curriculum on shapes. So this particular activity comes from that unit. And I will lay out a couple of dogs inside the pocket chart, for example. And then each dog is holding a shape, and then he has to go through his cards and match them up. So here I see a button. A button is in a circle shape, so that will go with the circle dog. A donut is in a circle shape, so that will go here. And then he's just gonna basically go through here, and if he finds one, I may not give him the whole stack of cards. I may just give him the cards that match the pieces that I put in here. We'll see how it goes, but he's gonna go through his stack, and then he's going to find the pictures that match up and just place them in his pocket chart next to the correct one. So anyways, I am trying to find them all, but you get the idea. So he's just going to kind of go through here and match up the cards with the dogs, and if he finishes all those, we can go on to some other shapes. I just love this one because it's got the firefighting dogs putting out the fires. All right, these are just some shape puzzles that he can match up. These come from, I have a long time ago, I made some preschool flashcards, and I'll try to remember to leave a link below to these. And what I did is I just cut them in half, and then the kids just have to match them up, and we talk about the name of each shape. And then I take it one step further, and let me show you what I do. What I try to do to make it a little bit more fun is after they have matched up a couple of the cards, like so, can you see that? Then I set out some shape pieces for them. These pieces came from a Melissa and Doug puzzle, and they are from a big chunky puzzle, so that's why the shapes are so big. And then I just have them match them up. So we're going to match up square to square, and triangle to triangle, and rhombus to rhombus, and oval to oval. You get the idea. So it's just another dimension to making these puzzles a little bit more fun. Okay, the next shape activity that he'll be doing this week also comes from my Early Learners Math Curriculum. And in here, and actually I threw in a book in here, this shape book goes with the shape activity, the preschool shape activities that I made a long time ago. But I just threw this in here so we can kind of just read through each shape. But anyway, so this shape trace activity center is just what you think. It's just tracing shapes. So there you got rhombus and hexagon, and they just use their dry erase marker and they trace the shape and they learn the shape. Now what I have them do after they trace it, so you know, let's say he traces all 3 of these squares, then I again give him shapes. This time I'm going to show you these shapes. These are pattern blocks. We use these for all sorts of things. And then he has to dig through his pattern blocks here, and he has to place the shapes on the card after he traces them. Just, whoop, I dropped one. Just like so. This is the last shape activity that I threw in his workbox for this week. And this is not by any means all of the activities that you find in the shape unit of my Early Learners Math Curriculum. It's just a few of them that I picked out. But what this one is it's hide and find. So here we have, he can use any of these pages that I want him to use. I'm going to use this first mat. It's got number 1 on it. And they lay the mat out in front of them, and then you have to give them shape pieces, obviously. I'm going to use these ones, the pattern blocks, and then they just have to match them up. So we read the shapes, hexagon, and he matches it up. Trapezoid, and he matches it up. Square. And this kind of repetitive, small rhombus, this kind of repetitive practice of the shapes really helps them remember the name of the shape, so that when they see it and they recognize it, they can remember what it is called. So there, that mat is complete. And then now that the names are kind of covered up, we can review. And he can't really read some of them anyways, hexagon and so on. He's only 4. But now that they're on there, then we can review, and he has to point at each one and say square, rhombus, triangle. Well, this is a small rhombus. This is like a bigger rhombus. Rhombus, hexagon, and trapezoid. And so he will say them all, and then we can go on to another mat that has a few different shapes. Okay, and I told you that the third skill for math that we're working on this week is numbers, counting numbers up to 20, so basically teen numbers. So I pulled out the Pre-K Summer Review Numbers to 20 book. I've shown this in other videos. There's a couple different activities in here. This one he has to count and match up. So we use magnetic numbers or puzzle piece numbers for this kind of thing. Here I have some puzzle piece numbers from a Melissa and Doug puzzle. And then he basically just counts. This one is number, well, let's go to harder one. Okay, so this is 10, 11, 13. And he would find the number 13. I was hoping to find one. There we go. That was right on top. And he would place it in his book like so. You can also use dry erase markers and have them write the number, but I don't usually waste time because in math I'm just focusing on the concepts at this young age, and I don't want him to spend so much time writing and trying to remember how to write the numbers. We do practice that in math, but it's more something we do with handwriting. And so when we're actually trying to practice the counting, I don't like to make him at 4 years old worry about, wait, how do I make a 3 again or whatever. I just want him to practice the counting at certain times. Sometimes I do make him write it, but other times I like to use the manipulatives because it just makes it so that he's just, you know, he's practicing the counting and he's not really worrying too much about that's a 9. Sorry, I'm talking to myself over here because I was looking for 6. Okay, so you get the idea. He would just fill up his page with the different number pieces, And he can go on. There's a couple different other activities in here, like they have to match the number, they have to write what number comes next, or the missing number, or that kind of thing. And then there is some tracing in the back when I'm ready to do that with him. So we have that one, and let me just kind of go through really quick. Okay, we actually did do the first day of school already, so he already did some of these. These are teen number strip puzzles where he has to put the numbers in order, and it's teen numbers, so numbers 11 through 19 basically. And he already did one of these today, and if I remember, I'll insert a picture of him, because I did take a picture of him doing this today. But you get the idea. They basically just put them together and it makes a picture. These come from my Early Learners Math Curriculum, my unit on teen numbers. Okay guys, really quick so that I can get into some of the literacy activities for this week. Finishing up math, I pulled out one of my number lines. You can get this number line for free off my website, and we're just going to use this to practice counting up through 20 this week. He can count to 100 obviously, but this is just a great tool to have on hand. So I pulled that one out, and then I'm not going to go through them, but we're going to do a couple more activity centers for my Early Learners Math Curriculum on counting. This is a teen number center where they put the pieces together to make a train. These are some more of the math activity cards where he has to count the 10s and the 1s to find the teen number. Then these are number tracing cards. So I told you we do practice tracing numbers, just not always when we're doing counting. So this is a separate activity, and it's already written on here. He uses dry erase markers and he traces the numbers, and then there's a number representation on there as well. So we will do those again. This one he loves. It's teen number building it, and I'm not going to go through it totally, but what you need for this one are some blocks or some snap cubes, something that you can build on top of each other. And then he has to count, like for example on this card there are pencils. He counts the pencils and then he builds that number. And then what I do is I extend the activity. So after they build it, so for example this number is 15. So he would take his blocks, and on the square here, he's going to build 15. And then I also have him either find, like in his numbers, I'd have him find the number 15 as well. So he sees not only this representation of 15, and not only did he build 15 with his blocks, but then he's also going to see the numeral 15 as well. So I extend it in that sense after he has built it. And we have not done this one yet. We only had one day of school so far, but yeah, he's going to go ahead and count, and it gives him different modes of counting as well. Like here's counting by tally marks. Here's obviously I showed you counting by the pencils, and then there's the 10 frames as well. So yeah, that one's cute. That one's also from that same unit in my math curriculum. And then this last one, he just spins, and then whatever it lands on, like this is 16, he has to find a square that shows 16 and cover it up with, you know, one of his manipulatives, and he just keeps going, keeps spinning until all of the squares get covered up. And there's a couple of different examples of maths that we can use for that activity as well. Okay guys, something I've had for a long time are just these matching puzzles, and I just pulled out the teen number ones, that teen numbers and up through 20. And so what I'm going to have him do is just match them up. We've had these forever. I think they are a Melissa and Doug puzzle set. And so yeah, I pulled those out just because we are working with those teen numbers this week. Okay, let's move on to my literacy activities that we have for pre-K this week, pre-K kindergarten. And this week we're doing a review. He is past the alphabet sounds. He can sound out words now, simple like CVC words. So he's kind of on short vowel words right now, but since it is the first week of school, I thought we would go back and review alphabet. And so what we did like this morning this morning we did Fluency page 8. And if you haven't seen these before, what the kids do is they go across and they say the sounds. So not the letter names, but the sounds. So a, t, n, o, k, j, p, I, v. And then if they do it well, they color in one smiley face, they go back, do it again, they color in the second smiley face, go back, do it again, color the third smiley face. Now the reason these two are circled is because the first time we did this morning, he said the wrong sounds for these two. So for E, he was saying like an ah kind of sound, and I forget what he did for O. So I circled them, but then the second time through, he did it correct. And the third time through, he did it correct. So I was proud of him for that, for fixing it. And that's a common mistake. Vowels are definitely a common mistake, especially E's and I's. He got I correct, but E's and I's, definitely kiddos mess up and mix up the sounds for E and I. So anyways, he did that one this morning, and he messed around on this page. But we definitely did this one together this morning. I usually just do one page a day as we work on these, because we do it 3 times, so he's still doing it a couple of times and getting the fluency, but we just do 1 a day. So we did that, and I'll keep that in there because he'll be doing more of those. And then this is the same thing. These are fluency strips as well, but these are the picture ones. So he says the sound in the picture. So robot, sun, wagon, quilt, elephant, and then I can also have him say the name of the letter that it starts with too. So he could say robot starts with R, sun starts with S, wagon starts with W, The most important thing is making sure that they say the sound, because we are working on phonics, so we want to know the sounds. And they do them basically the same way, but we didn't do any of these this morning, but I've got them in there. Then we have the Flip It book from Unit 1, and you can see he did some pages in this today, and he just had to match up. This one I had him using magnetic letters this morning, and so we skipped a few pages because we wanted to get, we did this page with the magnetic letters. We wanted to get to doing more magnetic letters. And then he did a few more with the dry erase marker. He did these this morning. He did this page this morning. This one is you match up the same sounds. So you have frog and flower, and then this one is log and lamp. Now he just used dry erase markers this morning, but you could also have the students use, manipulatives and just cover up their answers like so. Or you can even have them use a clip if you want, clothespin clips, and clip on their answer. Or do like we did, and we just decided to do the dry erase markers this morning. So anyways, he was doing some pages in this. That's book 1, and then in here I have also book 2, and I think 3 and 4 are in there as well. So anyways, just kind of show you those. I also have in here our pre-K summer review initial sounds book, and this one also works on those initial sounds. So basically what he would do is umbrella starts with U, so he can use a manipulative to cover up the answer, or he can color it in with his dry erase marker. So I have a picture in here for every letter of the alphabet. So this one is practicing beginning sounds as well. And of course I want to use this week because we are still in summer mode. So these are kind of summer themed. You can see the kids at the top are in their little swimsuits and they're swimming. These here are using magnetic letters or writing the missing beginning sound. So we'll be doing those. You can kind of see that there. So yeah, so that one's in there. So again, he's reviewing alphabet and beginning sounds. I also threw in here, oh yeah, there's another Flip It book I see down there, but I won't pull that out. But what I did put in here is these books. These are my books I made a while ago. These are called these are called Learn to Read Books Volume 2, I believe. I have so many things that I made. I'll leave links below, of course, where you can get my curriculum off the website. These ones aren't part of, oh yeah, are these part of the, I think these are part of my kindergarten literacy curriculum. Yes, I'm almost positive they are. And so I just pulled out 2 of them. There are other ones, and these 2 just work on beginning sounds, you can see. So this one is pets beginning sounds. This one is zoo animals beginning sounds. And so what he's going to do is flip through the book, and he can use his, pull this out here. He can go ahead and use his magnetic letters and he can fill in the missing beginning sound. So we're going to talk about zoo animals. We're going to read this book and talk about zoo animals. What do we see at the zoo? We see monkeys, and he can put his thing there. We see elephants at the zoo. We see tigers at the zoo. And one thing I love about these magnetic letters is that the vowels are red and the consonants are blue. So we can talk about that after he does the page. I can say, now look, your E was red and your T was blue. So that means E is a vowel and T is a consonant. And we can kind of, you know, do a little bit of intro into vowels and consonants there. So kangaroo and penguin. So he can just go ahead and use his magnetic letters. And of course, if he didn't have magnetic letters, they can write it with their dry erase markers there. And by the way, this is the Crayola dry erase markers that I'm using. We love those. The Expos we like to use on actual whiteboard because they're so much thicker. But if you're going to write like a letter or write something small, these ones have the regular marker tips, which I really like. So yeah. But anyways, okay, so that's this book, and this one's the zoo animal one, and this one is the pets one. So it's the same thing, it's just beginning sounds. Now in this set of books, I also have missing vowel sounds and ending sounds, I believe, and things like that. But for our purposes, since we're only working on alphabet really this week and beginning sounds, I just pulled out the beginning sound ones. But yeah, so we have the pet one as well. Okay friends, here's some fun things for the alphabet. I pulled out my new activity center that I made just about a week ago. And this one is called Alpha Match. And this activity center you can get in my Fun Back to School Activity Center bundle. Or you could just get it separately. I'll leave links below. But this one is basically, well, okay, they're mixed up. But you have a mat. I'll put the mat over here for a minute. And you have letter cards like this. Aren't those so cute? I just love these cute little letters. And then you have picture cards. So what you do is you put, a couple picture cards over here. So I put them upside down. And then you're going to put the matching alphabet cards over here. You don't want the kids to see them, obviously. But I'm going to put them here. I need D and C. And you don't want them to be directly across from each other, but you just want to put them on there. Okay, really? Here they are. And then what the kids are going to do is they're going to flip one over. It's kind of like memory. I flipped over A, and then I'm going to flip over one over here. And if the picture matches, if cake starts with A, then I would get to keep my match, but since they don't, I'm going to flip it back over. Now you could have them flip them both back over and start again, or you could just let them keep the letter out and try another one to see if they could find A. So I'm going to flip this one over. I found apple. Apple does start with A, so I found myself a match. And then after I find my match, the last part is to use my tracing mat. And now I have to find the letter A because that's the match I made. So I'm going to find my letter A on my mat, and I'm going to use dry erase marker. And again, because these letters are smaller, I really like these dry erase markers because they have the tight tip there. And the kiddos are just going to try their very best to trace the letter A. Another thing you can do if you don't want them to trace it, another fun thing is to provide them with some kind of letter manipulative, like the magnet letters that I showed you earlier, or these fun ones are not magnet. They are why can I not think right now? Stamps. They're alphabet stamps. And these ones, you can see some of them we've used in stamp pads and some of them not. But these are Melissa and Doug's set. You can tell I love Melissa and Doug. I love all their stuff. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just love their things. And what you could do instead, so after they find their match, let's say they found the D match. They found the D and they found the dog. Then what you could do is you could say, okay, find your D on your mat. Here's my D. Give them a teeny bit of Play-Doh. Okay, I know this is kind of crazy, but this is how I think. I try to like make everything interactive. All right, give them a little bit of Play-Doh. Have them place it on the D. And then have them grab a not magnet, I keep calling it magnet, a stamp, and stamp the letter D. Yay, we found D. All right, let's go on. Then we'll find, you know, let's say we find, I don't know, M or something. So they'll do the same thing. They'll take just a tiny bit of Play-Doh, find the M, place it on there, and go ahead and stamp their M. So anyways, you can kind of be creative and use these learning activities in other ways besides what they're actually made for. So that's just one example. All right, the next alphabet activity I have for him this week comes from my comes from my kindergarten literacy curriculum that I wrote a few years ago. Also, you can get it in the Ultimate Kindergarten Grade 1 bundle. Also, you can get it as just one single download. So, but what it is it's a missing letter one. So since we're working on alphabet, I want him to practice missing letters. So it comes with cards like this, and you can print the cards out in color. I decided when I made this activity years ago to print mine on some bright blue paper. And then I printed these ones on color. So basically what they do is the kids just take a strip and they say the letters M, N, O, and they have to decide what comes next in the alphabet. And then they're gonna look through their cards. Hopefully it's up here on top real quick. And I would not necessarily give them all the cards to look through, or they'll be there forever trying to find the letter. Just give them a couple and make sure that the actual letter is in the stack that you give them. And then they're just going to place it on there. And there's also a picture clue, so you could say M for monkey, N for nest, O for octopus, and P for pizza. Now, if the kids are having trouble figuring out what letter is missing, because in some of these, the letter that's missing is in the middle, or, you know, whatever, even if it's at the end. They might be having trouble figuring out what the letter is that's missing. Have them say the alphabet. Just say, okay, we're gonna say the alphabet, and when we get to Q, as we say it, just listen to ourselves and think about what comes next. So that's one way I do it. Also, if that's really not working, you can give them an alphabet chart or whatever you have. I'm gonna show you, actually, I was going to show you at the end of the video. Well, I'll show you at the end of the video. I have a phonics charts and I have alphabet charts that I just pull out in cases such as those. But anyway, you get the idea. So he would find R and put it on there, and then he could go on to another card and figure it out that way. Some people I have seen have added the Velcro dots to this activity, so that way the letter stays in there when they go on to the next strip, and they don't lose their pieces. So I really like that, and I may end up adding those. I have been telling myself for like the last couple weeks, I need to buy Velcro dots, I need to buy Velcro dots, and I keep forgetting. So maybe I'll remember after doing this, like when I'm editing this video, to really quick hop on Amazon or whatever and order myself some. So really need to do that. All right, I'm gonna show you quickly. This alphabet activity is super cute. This is from Unit 1 of my Phonics4Reading Curriculum. This one is Pirates Ahoy, and he is going to love this. We didn't get to this last year, so hopefully he will enjoy this activity. But basically what they do, I don't know why I'm flipping through them, but they take a card, so here's the W card, and they have to cover up, and now I have like directions on here. It says choose a card, cover the pictures that match the initial sound. So they have to use manipulatives to cover up. So I have a walrus, and since we're doing W, we're going to go ahead and cover up our walrus, and window, and wagon, and I think that's it, because vest and quack do not match. So yeah, they would just go on, and once they've done one card, you know, they could go on to another card. Here is T, so we're going to do tiger, and table, and teacher, and turtle. There's a lot of them on this one. Door would not be one. So you get the idea. You can use any manipulatives you have laying around for that. Okay there, so this activity also comes from Unit 1 of my Phonics4Reading program. This one is also covering up beginning sounds, but this one you need a die for. So this is like a big die that we've had forever that I got at the dollar store, and they came in a pack of 2, and I just like these, but we have regular dice as well that we use. Anyways, you can pick whatever mat you want. Each mat has different letters. So this first mat here has all the vowels, and then also the letter the consonant B, because I was starting to do some of the consonants on. I wanted all of the vowels on one page because they are the trickiest, so this would be the hardest page to do. or hardest mat. These are called activity mats. And so what they do is they just roll the die, and I got a 6 on mine. So I would look at 6, and 6 is B, and now I have to cover up a picture that begins with B. So I see a banana, and then I just, you know, obviously roll again. I got a 5, so U, I have to cover up a picture that begins with U, and I see under. The mouse is under. So you get the idea, and they would just continue to anyway, this one is the dinosaurs, sound match it. So basically what they do is they pick a card that has a letter on it, and you can print these out in color. I apparently printed it out on bright paper when I made this. And you first you place the letter card in the box. So here I have half of a picture basically, and it has a P on it. Then I have to find the picture card that matches. So what picture starts with P, and I found it. It is a pumpkin. And when I put it together, ta-da! I have a dinosaur holding the P with the pumpkin. And it's the same thing, you just go over and over. I have different dinosaurs. So this one was like a set of Triceratops or something. And this one is O, and then O would be for, I think octopus is in here somewhere. Okay friends, I'm just going to show you a couple of things that we have for every single week that we keep out. So in subsequent videos from this one, I may not show you these all the time because these are just things that we do every week that we always have on hand. And so it's nothing new, but I do plan on doing videos like this every week to show you what we have planned for the week. And if you are interested, my plan is to also get a video done on my first grader's activities that he has this week, and my preschooler who just turned 3, his activities that I have for the week. But for now, I just started with my pre-K kid. Okay, so we have our Learn to Read Level Fluency pack in here that we do. I try to do 1 page a day with him. Sometimes we don't get to it, but I try to. And so he is actually he is starting with level B because he did all of level A last year, and we actually did it probably twice. So now we are on to level B, and I just keep them in these plastic sleeves, and then we use dry erase markers with them. But I do know some people like to cut them out and make them into activity cards because there's 4 activities on each page. Some people just cut them out and make them into activity cards, and some people just use them as plain old worksheets. I know teachers in classrooms use them as plain worksheets. But you get the idea. So, and then this is level C. I have all 3 levels in here. And over the summer, I made new covers for my books because mine were getting really ratty. And all I did is I just laminated the covers. And these pictures, this cover comes with the download, so you don't have to like, you know, try to make your own cover or anything. It comes with it. And the same thing for math. So that's the reading one. And then we always have the math one on hand. We try to do 1 page in the math one every day as well. And again, for math, he's going to be pretty much, actually for math, we may go back and start in level A, somewhere in the middle of level A. Probably won't start the first page, but well, maybe we will. He's done a lot of it last year, but it doesn't hurt to redo some. And then he'll be going into level B. Yeah, I don't think he's ready. Looking at this, it's got addition and things. He's not ready for level B yet, but so yeah, we'll probably still stick with level A for now. For that, we also, for our handwriting practice, we do handwriting without tears. So we did the first page today, and that went pretty interesting, as you can tell. He actually writes a lot better than this, but he was like goofing off by the time we got to the handwriting, and I was like, okay. Because we had done a bunch of activities this morning, and then he was like, okay, I'm kind of done, and so we may have to go back and redo that first page. But anyways, so we do handwriting without tears. I won't go into that too much. Okay, so for this, I made my son a book of all of the, what did I call these? Oh, actually, it's got more than just that. Okay, so these are all interactive worksheets. There we go. Man, my brain is gone. You guys, I am in the middle of my pregnancy. I'm like 24 weeks and my brain is like gone. Okay, you know how pregnancy brain, I don't know. If you've ever been pregnant, you know what I'm talking about, or if you've ever been around someone who's pregnant, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so anyways, what I did is I printed out the interactive worksheets for my Early Learners Math Curriculum. There we go. And I just made a book of them so that we can kind of go through them throughout the year And so these ones are the teen number ones, so we'll probably get to some of these this week as he's working on teen numbers. Here you can kind of see some of them. All of these come in that math. Then these here are actually, I have some, this one is, oh, this is because it's a teen number. So some of them, I kind of mixed them up. This is from my early learners math curriculum, but this one right here is one that I made a long time ago. I made like 2 packs of kindergarten worksheets, and I'll leave links below to those. And so that one's what that is. And then here's some more math. And then past the math stuff, these are all from my math curriculum. If I can get past these, yeah, so here's some more. These are from the kindergarten pack that I made. These ones down here. These are more math from my curriculum. And then these are from my Phonics4Reading Curriculum. I made an alphabet pack of worksheets. You don't have to get the curriculum for these. You can get them in a separate download. But yeah, so these are the alphabet pack. So this is some phonics stuff back here. All of these are in that activity pack, which I'll leave a link below. But you get the idea. I just made him a little workbook, his own little workbook. And then these are, oh, these are the Stamp It activities. I have on my website, I made some phonics pages, like these ones are beginning sounds, and there's also like ending sounds and vowel sounds. I made some phonics pages for them to do with stamps. So he would use the stamps and he would have to stamp the letter in the box next to it. So hat, he would stamp H, you know, X-ray fish, he would stamp X. You get the idea. So they get to use stamps with these ones. And then this is ending sounds, there's some vowel ones in here. There's vowel sounds, you get the idea. Okay, I know this video is getting super long. I promise I'm almost finished. This is a learning book I made for him when he was 2. It's my interactive, called an interactive learning book. This book is probably my biggest seller as far as curriculum or anything on my website. I think it is my #1 seller. And in here, I just made it interactive because I used the Velcro dots. He doesn't have to work on his name anymore. He knows his name, but this was when he was 2, we were working on his name. And I will probably go ahead and redo this page for my now son who is 3, who does need to work on his name. But anyways, what we are using this for is like, today we put the August calendar together. So he had to get the month and put it on there because we're just starting school. He had to put the numbers in here. For August, they all come apart because he can change it for each month, obviously. And then we sang the month of the year song this morning. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. These are the 12 months of the year. So we talk about that. And he can take these pieces off and then put them in order how they go. I'm not gonna go through this whole book. We also did the days of the week song this morning. And then that was it. That's all we did this morning. But it also has in here seasons and weather. So every day we can talk about what the weather is, and we can, you know, stick the weather on there. And there's numbers. We didn't do that today. There's letters. There's colors. It's a preschool book, basically. Shapes. I won't go through it all, but yeah. So we have that for each day. And the last 2 things I want to show you are the... I have charts. So these are the charts from my early learners math curriculum, and I put them all in a book, and I'm loving it. They're all laminated so that as we use them, we can write on them or do what we need to do. But yeah, so I have those in one book, and then the other charts I have are the Phonics charts. These charts come as a single download. Like there's a big chart pack that I have, and I put all the charts in here and made a little book out of them this year. I used to have them separate, just kind of like not hooked together, just kind of floating, and I kept them in a binder one time, I think, in little plastic sleeves, but now I decided to laminate them all and make a book out of it. So we will be using those throughout the year as well. All right, you guys, I think if you've made it this far with me, then you are awesome. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.